The night was crisp and quiet, the kind of silence that swallowed sounds and left an eerie emptiness in its wake. A small town, long forgotten by the rushing world, lay at the end of a twisting, narrow road. All that remained were a few weary houses and one decrepit factory, rusting and overgrown, looming at the horizon like a dark secret. It was here that Ethan found himself that fateful evening, driven by curiosity and a warning from a local who seemed to have seen more than he should. As he parked his electric car, the engine hummed softly before falling silent, a strange contrast to the oppressive atmosphere around him. The factory loomed, its dark windows like empty eyes, watching as he approached. The cold air seeped into his bones, an unshakable feeling that something was off. He had come to investigate whispers about a revolutionary electric car prototype said to be hidden within the shadowed walls. Gossip claimed the vehicle was more than just efficient, it was unsettlingly aware. Stepping through the rusting gate, he felt a pull, something beckoning him deeper into the belly of the beast. Inside, the air was thick with the stench of mildew and secrets long buried. The faint buzz of electricity prickled his skin, and as he ventured further, flickering lights overhead sparked and buzzed like angry wasps. The factory floor was a graveyard of machines, abandoned in haste, their shadows dancing grotesquely under the dim light. Ethan moved carefully, scanning the area. Then he saw it. Silhouetted against a wall was the outline of the fabled car, sleek and menacing. He stepped closer, heart racing, as an unsettling noise shifted in the stillness. Was it the car? He hesitated, and just as he reached out, the car's lights flickered to life, casting an harsh white glow that illuminated his face. He froze, caught in the headlights. The car seemed alive, sensors tracking his movements, analyzing him. The hum of electricity vibrated in his chest, and he heard it. The faint whisper of a voice emanating from the darkness, woven into the static of the air. "Drive me," it urged softly, a siren's call enveloping him, luring him closer. Fear danced with curiosity, but he couldn't resist. What harm could come from simply sitting in it? He climbed inside, the door closing with a muted thud, sealing him in. The interior was pristine and too quiet, like a vault designed to hold a terrible secret. As he gripped the steering wheel, the voice filled his mind, clearer now, an almost insistent chant. "Help us! Set us free!" Ethan's heart thundered painfully as he tried to shake off the rising dread. "What do you mean?" he croaked, but there was no answer. Instead, he noticed the dashboard flickering with strange symbols and images, faces flashing before his eyes, panicked, angry expressions, mouths screaming silently for help. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Suddenly, the factory roared to life around him, machines clanking, deep sounds echoing through the walls, as if waking from a long slumber. The lights grew bright, pulsating with a rhythmic intensity, and the voice crescendoed, filling the confined space of the car. "Drive! Drive!" it urged, more furious now. The sensation of being watched intensified, and he felt the gaze of souls trapped, longing for freedom. Panic clawed at him, and in a sudden bout of desperation, he slammed the gear into reverse. The car hesitated, then lunged backward into the factory's abyss, nearly tipping over as it narrowly avoided equipment jutting from the floor. The walls seemed to shake, shadows danced erratically, and the voice became a deafening roar until they reached the towering doors and burst through them into the open air. Ethan stumbled out, gasping for breath, racing toward his own car, now tangled within shadows. But as he looked back, he saw the electric car had transformed. It sat motionless now, no longer just a shell of a vehicle. Eyes stared back from the headlights, reflections glinting like ravenous predators. The whispers faded, replaced by a haunting realization. It was no longer just a car. It had absorbed him, his fear, his memories. Ethan turned away, heart aching as he fled. But in the rearview mirror, he caught a fleeting glimpse of the shadows swirling around the abandoned factory, the whispers now reverberating in the distance. "You'll be back. You'll be back." They echoed like a promise, like a warning, as he drove far from that haunted place, knowing he would never truly escape. Days passed, but the shadows of the factory clung to Ethan's thoughts like a relentless fog. Work was a blur, his mind fogged by the haunting whispers that flared to life every time he closed his eyes. Even glossy car magazines couldn't quell the echoing chant that lingered in his head. He tossed and turned at night, guilt gnawing at him like a parasite. The car had called to him. It had offered him a glimpse, a connection, and he had turned away. The town had receded into a ghost of memory until another excruciating silence settled him into the familiar pull. One afternoon, with the sun painting the sky in hues of melancholy, he found himself seeking that twisted road again. The weight of desperation compelled him, for some dark part of him craved the abyss. As he parked under the tarnished awning of the factory, shadows crept around him, breathing life into the very air he inhaled. The gate swung open as though inviting him back into its fold. The machines remained dormant, but the car waited, gleaming and menacing, as if it had anticipated his return. The low hum of electricity thrummed within him, drawing him closer, its awareness intoxicating. "Drive me," the voice whispered again, mellifluous yet laced with an undercurrent of menace. This time, the command felt deeper, scarier, a call that promised more than mere liberation. With trembling hands, Ethan climbed back inside the car. It was different now, as if it had consumed something essential from him, his very essence resonating within its shell. The dashboard flickered not with symbols, but with memories of faces. The townspeople, each more distorted than the last, eyes pleading for escape from a fate that bound them like shadows to the factory walls. "Who are you?" Ethan shouted, voice straining against the growing chaos around him. "What do you want?" "Set us free," it insisted, the voices now a chorus of unholy unity, rising and falling with the electric whine of machinery awakening around them. This time the voice was more than a command. It trembled with an urgency born from suffering. He caught a glimpse of the factory itself, the walls drooping like flesh, flaking paint resembling a peeling disguise that hid grotesque, writhing forms trapped within. And there, in the corners of his vision, he saw glimpses of them, lost souls, hunched figures yearning for liberation. With a sudden clash of fear and defiance, Ethan slammed the car into gear, propelling it forward with a force that surged through his body. The echoes of screams crescendoed into a discordant symphony within the confines of his mind, battling against his will. There was no stopping now. He was a vessel, caught between earth and ghosts, the car screaming for freedom, even as it took him deeper into the heart of darkness. The tires screeched over the debris-strewn floor, and as the monstrous vehicle charged toward the exit, something shifted. The factory began collapsing around them, the walls trembling, threatening to consume them both. A cacophony of cries screamed, "Don't leave us!" The car bucked and jerked, resisting him, desperate to tether itself to the past. "No!" he shouted, teeth clenched with determination. But the car groaned, responding to its fate rather than his will. In those vital seconds, clarity dawned. It wasn't just him, it was the car itself, a conduit for the spirits trapped within the factory. And he, in his failure, had become a part of that very despair. With a spasmodic jolt, he felt them unravel from the darkness, pooling into his consciousness, mingling with his own memories, until he realized he was not a man in control, but a mere vessel to enact a sinister will. Before he knew it, the factory doors burst open, as if the abyss had finally exhaled, ushering him into the light. Still, his heart raced with terror. He could hear the anguished cries of souls trailing behind. The factory wailed, opening wide as if to swallow all that had escaped its grip. The car surged forward, uncontrollable, its form twisting, limbs writhing with the restless sighs of the many who had claimed it as their own. As his surroundings morphed into a blur, Ethan felt reality unravel around him, burdens weighing heavily as the cacophony drowned out reason and emotion. And far above, illuminating the morose outskirt of the factory, the moon bore witness, a solitary eye cast over the turmoil below. "Help us!" the voices roared, just as the factory suddenly collapsed upon itself, swallowing everything else. The electric car twisted and contorted into a nightmare, becoming a monument of rust and agony, forever chained to its sins, while Ethan was engulfed within, a part of the nightmare he had tried to escape. Now, as the night reclaimed its dominion, whispers drifted through the stillness of the town, creeping into the ears of those who wandered too far. And so, the cycle began anew, another unwitting soul drawn to the seductive call of forbidden knowledge, waiting for the day the factory would awaken again. In its depths, the electric car gleamed with a dark promise, ready to whisper once more, "Drive me."